Two issues that you might have to deal with in working with charts might be what happens when you hide columns or rows in data that's being depicted in a chart, and what happens to blank cells. The chart that we're seeing here to the right of this data represents only data from a few states, and there is a bit of an oddity in it in that some of the cells are blank. So for example, Arizona third quarter 2010 is blank. And how does that display on a line chart? Simply as a gap. Now, if the data is truly accurate, then the chart is truly accurate. If those empty cells represent data that has not yet been reported, we might want to consider an alternative. Do they truly represent 0? We can actually put in the 0 there, but we do have some options. And on the Design tab, if you choose Select Data, it's the fourth button from the left. In the lower left-hand corner of this dialog box, hidden and empty cells. Two separate issues really, but let's deal with the empty cells issue here. Show empty cells as gaps. That's what we're seeing right now. Would we want them to be displayed as 0? Oh, possibly. Let's see how that looks though on a line chart. Let's click OK, and we see what's happened now. And I'm going to press Ctrl Z here for contrast. That's how they looked when we were not showing them as zeros, and this is how they look when they are being shown as zeros. So is that the solution? It could be. Let's click the chart again and go back in on the Design tab to Select Data. Hidden and empty cells. How about this third choice, Connect Data Points with Line? Click here, click OK. And watch the difference on the chart when we click OK here. See what's happening? I'll press Ctrl Z to go back for a second. So here they are displayed as 0, and here they are displayed as connecting the points. Now, if those blank cells represent data that hasn't yet been reported, then what we're saying in effect is the value here is, for the moment at least, or for a while, is soon to be midway between the two values that surround it. And we see no actual point right here, but that's what's being displayed. Same thing happened over here with Colorado between these two entries. And that's referring to cell G4 up there. So you have to decide what's going to work best for you here in these kinds of situations. Now, if I switch to a bar chart by switching to Design and then change chart type, and I'll use a custody column perhaps, a little bit better maybe. Here we do have the absence of columns, but I think the display here might be more reasonable if you truly want to show these as missing data. So we've got some options there. Now, another issue that in a certain sense isn't really related, but we go to the same dialog box and the same location on the Design tab, is what we do with hidden data. Suppose we still want to show this data here, but for the moment we only want to show 2011. So I'm going to hide columns B through E. Drag across, right-click, hide, and we're seeing the data this way. You can see across the bottom, we're only seeing data from 2011. And that's the default view of this. Now, it could be that you might want to show the hidden data and yet simplify the display in the background. So once again, clicking on the chart, going to the Design tab, Select Data, Hidden and Empty Cells. Show data in hidden rows in columns. And you see immediately what happens in the background here. We are seeing the data for all 8 quarters here. Click OK, even though it's not showing. So maybe you can even hide these. Now, why do we want to hide the data? I think most of the time you wouldn't, but if it's busy and it takes up a lot of room up there, maybe you just don't want to show the data. And now all the numerical data is hidden. In fact, we could even do that for the moment. And if we're only focusing on 3 states here, we're seeing all the data, and yet the numbers are hidden. So at different times, you do want to think out the possibilities here about what's to be done. The default is not to show the hidden data. So if you want to set it back to the default, we can go to the Design tab, Select Data, Hidden and Empty Cells, uncheck the box for Show Data in Hidden Columns and Rows, click OK, and what are we about to see on this chart now? Nothing. Not so useful, is it? Bring back the hidden column, so we'll drag across here and double-click the boundary, that's one way, and there's our data again. In this example too, we might eventually consider showing all the states. We'll just grid that lower right-hand corner. It's likely to be a busy chart, and that's not a great chart at all. And here, the design change I think most of us would want to at least explore is changing the chart type here to a stacked column, possibly a stacked bar. Double click there. And even that probably needs some work too. And here, a better choice might be to switch row column. There we go. And maybe ultimately that could be a better chart. But again, we have methods of dealing with hidden data, and that might happen when we hide rows and columns, or missing data or blank cells. Both of them come from the Select Data button on the Design tab.